Hi guys, welcome back. This is Video James coming in for my predictions for the Gold Cup 2019 or the Copa Oro. Um, the Gold Cup is not that hard to predict most years. I mean, you usually get the same result every now and again, every time. Mexico usually comes out on top, and if it's not Mexico, it's the United States. Sometimes you get Costa Rica, sometimes you get a curveball, but for the most part, and most Mexican football players, most Mexican nationals will tell you, yeah, this is business as usual for us. Winning this cup is not, something that, we want to do. It's something that we're expected to do. Um, Meanwhile, all the other teams are trying their hardest to compete with each other. Lots of minnows here with a lot of big teams, but none of which that outshine the Mexican national team. But either way, you're going to have to hear my predictions eventually. So, before we get started with the predictions, let's just do a rundown of all the nations that qualified. In Group A, we have Mexico, Canada, Martinique, and Cuba. In Group B, we have Costa Rica, we have Haiti, Nicaragua, and Bermuda. In Group C, we have Honduras, Jamaica, El Salvador, and Curacao. And then finally, we have the U.S., Panama, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana in Group D. That's all the seeds, that's all their positions, that's the way they were drawn in. Just getting through Group A very quickly. Mexico very obviously going to top this group. It's more so a question who's going to take second. I don't really know if I favor Cuba's chances this year. Maybe in a couple years they can start to impress us. Martinique, meanwhile, oh no, I've never really seen them as a force to be reckoned with in international football. Canada, meanwhile, has the people, it has the players. It goes by the seeds, this one. Maybe Cuba and Martinique are going to duke it out for third, but sadly, unlike the past two tournaments I've made predictions on, these aren't the best third place teams tournaments. It's top two or you're out. So Mexico and Canada to move on based on their seeds. I don't think that's unreasonable. What is a little bit more complicated is Group B. I favor Costa Rica to take the top position, but I'm not sure about second. I haven't seen Haiti really performing like they used to. I don't favor a Caribbean nation's chances outside of Jamaica during this competition. I really want to go for Nicaragua going into second. Bermuda, sadly, going into last. I really never have confidence in these tiny island nations, aside from a couple, and that's a rare occurrence, but you'll find out my opinion on that when we get to Group C. Nicaragua, for some reason, it just hasn't been able to relive the hype that it used to have, but I've been seeing their team. It's starting to develop again. It's starting to hit that refresh stage where they're taking out some of the older players, bringing in some newer, younger talent. I see Nicaragua going quite a ways this year. Again, Costa Rica coming in first, Haiti third, Bermuda fourth. Group C. Honduras, Jamaica, El Salvador, and Curacao. Honduras? No. I don't see Honduras really. I don't fancy their chances. Back during qualifiers, they missed out. They barely made it into a playoff position for the World Cup. This year, to get into the Gold Cup, it was a bit easier for them, but to me, this is kind of like the group of, well, one of the two groups of death. I also see Group D as a real big group of death, but Group C, that's a lot. I mean, El Salvador, Jamaica, Curacao, Honduras. I don't see any of this going the way we expect it to. I see Jamaica coming in first because the Rasta Warriors have been really at it lately. Jamaican football is on the rise. As we know, the women's football team just made it to, or league just made it to the Women's World Cup, and they're showing off what they can do. The men are doing just the same. A lot of my Jamaican friends out there are nonstop talking about their chances. So yeah, I fancy Jamaica. I fancy Jamaica going through, probably in first. I want to put Honduras third. Now, who's fourth and second, you're asking? El Salvador or Curacao? I'm putting Curacao in second, funnily enough. They have been middling a little bit lately in the rankings. They dropped from 80th to 81st, 83rd, I'm not too sure. But from what I've been seeing is that they're pumping out high-quality players left and right. El Salvador, on the meanwhile, ever since their World Cup appearance, they really haven't been going anywhere. I think Curacao is going to dominate. El Salvador, I think they're going to take care of Honduras quite handily. Maybe they might even give Jamaica a run for their money. But all I know is that this Dutch tradition of footballing is on the rise. Seeing the Netherlands perform so well, seeing Belgium, that, you know, now that it has a lot of Dutch players, being the number one team in FIFA. Curacao is surprising a lot of people with the Caribbean. I think now that they've made it to their back-to-back Gold Cup, they're going to advance further, and you know, we'll see where it goes, but I'm predicting they're coming in second right now. Maybe they'll have the same points as El Salvador. Maybe they'll come in third due to, or not as El Salvador, as Honduras. Maybe they'll lose due to goal difference, but we'll see come the Copa Oro. Group D, this is a hard one. United States, Panama, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana. Guyana making their debut at the competition. The Indomitable Lions. Very happy for them. In fact, I think Guyana's going to do a little bit better than we imagine. This group really is a mixed bag. The U.S., you could argue, is the best team in there. Okay, sure. They have Pulisic. They have all these great players, but my American heart wanes after watching their friendly with Venezuela, which was their tune-up for their competitions. I don't really see Venezuela as one of the best teams to lose to. If you lost to Brazil, sure, but a 3-0 battering from Venezuela, I don't really want to put too much confidence in the U.S. Panama, meanwhile, has been doing very well. I wasn't really expecting it from them. Here we are. I do want to give Panama the first place position. Trinidad and Tobago, we saw them during the World Cup qualifiers knocking out the U.S., which was very unexpected, which kind of gave Panama the ability to go to the World Cup outside of the playoff position. But Trinidad and Tobago, I expected them back during qualifiers for the World Cup last year. I thought, wow, they are on the up and up. They are doing great. You know, they might come back to a World Cup again. Who knows? And then I started looking more into it. And then I started seeing, oh, wow, yeah, their results haven't been so good. They haven't been really performing up to par. They haven't really been showing off on the international scene. None of their friendlies have been popping up as something to be impressed by. You could say the same thing for Guyana, who are making their debut. They haven't really held any friendlies lately. But. I see Guyana on the rise. I could see Guyana going in second. I can see Guyana going in third. I can see the U.S. being toppled. It's really sad to say that, but I really do. Unless the coaching staff for the U.S. is going, wow, we screwed up with Venezuela. We need to kick it into gear, which I bet they are, but if they can't kick it into gear, I see Guyana going in second. The debutantes becoming a dark horse, entering the knockout stages. I see the U.S. having an early exit in the group stages. Panama, definite first for me. I think they have really shown their worth. They've really shown what they're capable of. I think after their World Cup entry, investment into the Panamanian Football League has been going up. A lot of Panamanians are really, adding that extra oomph that they've needed for so many years. The U.S., after a failed entry into the World Cup, buddy, come on, we're not going anywhere right now. We need to do better. The U.S. team needs to do better, and it's not reaching that point right now. Like I said, I'm thinking Panama first, Guyana second, U.S. third. It's not the worst spot, and then Trinidad and Tobago in fourth. And that brings us to the bracket. So the winner of Group B will be taking on the runner-up of Group A. I had Costa Rica taking on Canada. That's a pretty obvious game. Canada, despite, for me, making runner-up of Group A, it's not like it was a difficult, group to get through. Martinique and Cuba. Cuba's just coming back on the international scene. Martinique hasn't really been all that impressive for the past ever. They've gone a lot farther than they've have in the past. Martinique is improving, but right now, I think any French tradition of football is waning a bit, especially after that 2-0 loss to Turkey in the Euro qualifiers. I'm not seeing a lot of Francophone nations really reliving that hype that the world champions were able to achieve. I think nationality, national spirit, whether it's ethnic spirit or national spirit, plays a lot into the abilities of football players. For example, when Bulgaria reached the semifinals of the World Cup in 1994, for 2, maybe 3 years, any Bulgarian team was just constantly, impressing. Like they were considered top tier, even though Bulgaria is the only nation that is a Bulgarian nation, and they were losing the likes of Stoichkov and Lechkov. They were maintaining their presence until 1998 when they got dismantled during the World Cup and then never showed up in a World Cup again. You can see that in Yugoslavian nations. For some reason, every nation that was under a Yugoslav identity has appeared at a World Cup and done extremely well, except for Montenegro and Macedonia. Meanwhile, North Macedonia won its EuroLeague group and is now going on to the playoffs of Group D. Personally, I think Kosovo is going to win that. We'll get into the predictions of playoffs and the rest of the qualifiers for the Euro Cup later. Point is, I think this national identity, this ethnic identity, plays a lot into football. I know it sounds strange. I just don't see Martinique coming through. But back to the bracket. The winner of Group B, which I had as Costa Rica taking down Canada. They'll advance into the semifinals. Then we have the winner of Group A, which was Mexico, versus the runner-up of Group B. The runner-up of Group B I had as Nicaragua. Mexico, probably an obvious pick to go into the semifinals. Winner of Group C I had as Jamaica. The runner-up of Group D I had as Guyana. I think Jamaica's going to take down Guyana. Like I said, Jamaica's been doing better and better. And the winner of Group D versus the runner-up of Group C. So the winner of Group D for me was Panama. The runner-up of Group C was Curacao. Probably Panama. I think they're going to knock out Curacao. And then we have our semifinals, where we're going to be seeing who did I have? Sorry. We're going to be seeing Canada take on Mexico. Mexico's the obvious pick here. I think that's not too crazy to. Oh no, wait! I had Costa Rica taking down Canada. I'm so sorry. So Costa Rica and Mexico. I think this is where things get a bit more complicated. Costa Rica playing against Mexico. Costa Rica, I think, are on the up and up. Mexico is starting to stagnate after their performance during the group stages of the World Cup. They basically got very lucky that South Korea beat Germany. Now, don't get me wrong, beating Germany is no small feat. Beating South Korea is no small feat. Well, drawing with South Korea. Point is, their loss to Sweden was a bit terrifying if you're a Mexican nacional. That's not a good sign. I remember when people were Mexican fans were chanting "Korea, Korea" after the group stages to thank South Korea for beating Germany and keeping Mexico in the tournament. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, you're chanting Korea, but the South Koreans are sitting there going, you couldn't have beaten Sweden, so we could also go to the knockout stages? Point is, I don't see Mexico going into the finals. I see Costa Rica going into the finals, taking down Mexico, which will be an upset. It'll be a shock, but they're not in the Estadio Azteca, so you've got slim chances when you're outside the Azteca. Well, not slim chances, but Mexico performing the Azteca, very good, very awesome, great job. Costa Rica, not having to go there. They don't have this pressure from a very large Mexican fan base. Well, they do, but I think Costa Rica and Glendale are going to take down Mexico and move on to the finals in Chicago. The winner of Group C, I had as Jamaica, facing the runner-up of Group D. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. Jamaica going on in the semifinals, and then I had Panama going into the semifinals. Jamaica. I think it's going to be Jamaica. A lot of people might call me crazy because Panama has been doing so well, but so is Jamaica. Jamaica's the real dark horse, and I think at the Copa Oro, the Gold Cup, we're going to see quite a few surprises. I think the Gold Cup this year, despite what everybody thinks, I think that, the finals are going to come down between Costa Rica and Jamaica, two nations that you don't often see go for this title, go for this, go into the finals for this championship, especially considering the only two nations to win the Gold Cup have been there's been three, the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. Canada won in 2000. But I think this is the year that we finally see finalists that are outside of what are considered the superpowers of North America. I think Jamaica, Costa Rica going head-to-head, and then Jamaica winning their first ever title. Argue with me all you want. I think that's what's going to happen. Anyways, that's my predictions for the Gold Cup. Either later today or perhaps tomorrow, I'm going to get on to my Euro Cup qualifying predictions, and I might do a couple qualifiers for some of the minnows with the Asian Cup World Cup or AFC World Cup qualifiers taking place. It's not something you normally comment on, but it seems a lot of the predictions you get are either uninformed or they're very niche predictions. It really depends where you go with it. I see that there are a lot of people that misunderstand the dynamic of the minnows of Asia, and it's something that needs to be examined. Like, why is Pakistan not doing well? Why was the Cambodia-Pakistan game so slow? Why is it impressive that Bhutan beat Guam, even though a lot of people were saying they would? I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun thing to examine. But one of my shorter videos today. So, thanks for watching. Just to remind you, I believe Jamaica is going to be the champions of the Gold Cup, the Copa Oro of 2019. And if you disagree with me, comment below. If you liked this video, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe. I really want to see this channel grow, not just as a footballing channel, but maybe a gaming channel. I could play some FIFA, something like that. And some news, because going from predictions to news, especially about these countries in particular, their football associations, how the politics around their country are affecting their football, like Hungary with their tax problems, Poland, Turkey investing so much into football that they're able to beat France, but what are the consequences of that? Same thing goes for nations like the UAE, for Kuwait, seeing what's happening in Bahrain lately, seeing what's happening with the Palestinian national team. But, okay, so that's about it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please come in soon enough to watch my next video on football. Goodbye.